Here we go, yo! What is the scenario? Welcome back, Jack Fastest freaking show in MLB, absolutely anywhere. With your boy, come on, with your buddy Big Johnny Stud. Let's fucking do the thing. Follow me on Twitter at John Legaza Flow, sharper than a razor. Hit me up on Substack, same handle, find out what all the hubbub is about. $2 a week, get you 5 pounds of shit in a 2-pound box. Doing all the damn things. All the advanced stuff you're used to, everything formatted for fantasy baseball and soon futures betting. That stuff is right around the corner. Uploadable, color-coded best ball ranks for Underdog. I basically change those every day. The top 525, She's Alive. That's your Roto 525 rankings. You get instructions on how to use the Google Sheet. All that and more. Again, pitching stuff. And that's until we hit the ground running. 2026 season algo on deck. We are here for a dinger draft. And we are fully loaded. This time I was sharp enough to do everyone the solid of hiding their names. Not that it matters. These are not actually technically live through the magic of video. It's a little bit of delay because I really don't want to spoil anybody's stuff or have you steal my shit, bro. But if you pay for the stack, just $2 a week, it takes fucking 2 seconds. I comb through the 3,000 fucking player pool. We've got the 8-pick, by the way. Underdog best ball dinger is the game. 200K up top. You download a CSV and upload it. A lot of the people that play best ball at Underdog already know it's probably the best site for that. They're used to people being so liquid and fluid with their rankings and stuff. So I'm constantly changing them. It takes 2 seconds to download and re-upload. Listen, you really got to clean out the queue because people are really sharp. ADP is moving fast. I also update that like every couple days. As we get closer, it might be every day, depending. It depends on the movement. Shouldn't move too much in a day or two. But one small move, Belly goes back to the Yankees, and all of a sudden, Jason Dominguez has to drop, especially when you start to factor in the pressure on outfielders, right? If you're unfamiliar, so Underdog, you can see on the board, it's 12 teams. Well, it looks like I should probably shrink that one. I just did. But it's unique in the positional stuff, in the way they are binned, and the way the starters go. Of course, best ball, the computer does all the scoring for you. So as much of a war of attrition, it's very much about balance also. I want to see how much of this draft I could roll on auto. So it's 3 pitcher start, 3 infielders, 3 outfielders, 1 flex hitter. So 10 starters, 20 rounds. You could feel the pressure. And then in particular, if you're really automatically thinking, well, 3 outfield spots, 3 infield spots, well, there's way more infielders than outfielders, right? 3 starting outfielders. There's 4.5 starting infielders. I wouldn't cross out catchers. I think when you get to the back of the board, catchers can be viable in this game, right? Guy like, Will Smith maybe doesn't get the extra PAs at designated hitter, but is on a good team, is a good hitter himself. I'm trying to think who else might be back there. I'm not that big on Wilson Contreras, but even guys like that, Sal Perez. So he might get the extra PA. So, again, catchers can play. Point being, there is good reason to put pressure on outfielders, right? That makes sense. The thing is, the balancing beam comes out then in you don't want to be overpaying. So I found I like a pretty strict outfield plan up top, at least one of two outfielders, at least one of the first two. It's really hard to build a team without it. I guess technically if you have the first pick, your third pick or the second pick, it's possible, but they really do dry up, and I feel like pretty shortly, you feel like you're paying a premium well above fair market value expectations, and then in particular, the opportunity cost of what you're missing out on. I'm not about to start hand-waving fucking Bobby Witt and Jose Ramirez and Vlad Guerrero and how good these guys are. But the 1v1s really do start to drop off. Maybe I was a little too short-sighted when I mentioned round 2, round 3, when it's probably a little bit later than that. But you're going to see in real time. Remember, this is an OPS league. You're only starting a handful of guys every week. You need big scores. You're up against the most elite hitters that go on crazy tears. You can't get by on compilers, really. All right, maybe 1 or 2 at the back end. Then as far as pitchers, right, 5 pitchers on every single team. Granted, even if you want to say not every team has got 5 viable guys, some do, and a bunch have 4. So I think there's more starters than infielders, especially with the herd mentality that kind of comes along with best ball drafting. And I think it's just a matter of the volume that happens. I'm not trying to smear people. I'm no smarter than anybody else. I just think I'm taking a little bit of a different look at it, where like the ADP gets set by the site, and I think because people are doing volume plays and they're running a lot of auto drafts, they don't tend to do maybe the scrolling that they should. Again, this comes with getting my ranks. That like I have guys way in front of market that like I'll go to bat for, and I've been drafting, like I maxed out the little guy. This is a dinger. The little ones are not full, but I think you should jump in. Like if you haven't played for $3 with, several $1,000s on top, and you don't have to spend any time managing the pitch. It's a lot of fun. It's a cool format. Really fast. It's really easy to draft and stuff. And I'm just running on off my auto picks right now. From the 8 pick, I got Kyle Tucker and Jordan Alvarez. Again, 10 of the first 12 picks were outfielders, then another 5 in the second, then 3 of the first 5. So it's very heavy outfielders. Now, I wanted to mention them, right, how I said the 3rd, 4th, trying to identify the cliff. Jackson Merrill, Jarren Duran, Seiya Suzuki in the 3rd. These are like top-tier outfielders. Now, I have my first, this is the first spot I'm in where I actually have an infielder above. I just think he's too big of a difference maker. And I'm going to go with Junior Caminero. Now, I wonder if I can get slick with this for a quick second and show you a little bit of what you get if you sign up to this stuff. Let's see how this looks. So if I share this tab instead, right, so here's a quick look at the paywalled hitter sheets. If you're listening on the podcast, you can jump over to the Twitter feed and check the vid. So you could sort by, name and team, and if you're good with the filters, and there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with this. Look at Junior Caminero, 93 runs, 110 ribbies, 45 homers, 7 steals. They're moving to the Trop, but come on, he had a 520 X-Slug, 359 X-Wobber, really good approach. The chase rate's in check with good zone contact for all the power that you got, plus 48 pull, 18 air pull, those pull metrics off the board, 51.5 hard hit, 421 X-Wobicon, 68 barrels, 40% power rate. He's really damn good. So I think topside guys, and again, we're mentioning players that could kind of move, that move the needle and stuff. I think Caminero is Definitely one of those guys. Rap came back to me. Now I'm starting to really hit that tier. So I got Bellinger in the 4th. So we're in like the mid 4th. Listen, Bellinger with the Yankees and that swing. Again, you can see why the data is so helpful, right? Just pop over in the way it's formatted. Then I have splits and stuff also. But to give you that, just a really good idea of a player, and I think that with a quick snapshot of Fangraphs, just a 2-tab kind of attack, you're really cooking with fucking Crisco. So back to the outfielders and where I think some teams are going to get caught. Now, I like this. I don't have to call out people, but I hated that there were names on one of the prior draft streams. So this one, Team 3 and Team 4 have just one outfielder through 4 rounds. Team 3 goes Soto, Skeens, Crochet, Freeman. If you want to pitch me the case for an ace, I get it. The problem is the way the scoring is, hitters just score so many more points than the pitchers. And the top tier of hitters score so many more points than the next tier of hitters that I really think you want to hoard those fucking guys. Because the pitching really comes down a lot, believe it or not, to the scheduling and getting 2 starts. Where you'd rather have a second starter from the 10th round in these drafts than Paul Skeens. And it's not to fucking knock Skeens. He's fucking incredible. I covered him on the podcast. If you haven't checked it out, check out the Corked Stats podcast feed. There are free episodes, and then you could pay for all the exclusive stuff that's included in the package. Package. Skeens 197 ERA, .95 WHIP, but a 259 expected. My own custom indicator that also comes with the pack at 282, 24 KBB, 29 CSW, 34 chase, 81 zone contact. Those are all incredibly strong. Plus, you get the good ground ball rate, and he's good at suppressing contact. But, Pittsburgh kind of caps the ceiling a little bit, right? We know about the wins. It's real. I guess they'll be a little bit better, but how much? Who knows? I worry about the bullpen. That's where the wins come from, right? Coughing up those close runs. Even if the offense is better, how much better? I don't know. So you'd rather have, you'll see guys that we're going to get in the fucking 10th round or whatever. Now I have a little point, something I'm going to end up covering in a little bit. It always reminds me of, shout out my guys Welsh and Bogman and the Welsh at ITL. I haven't spoken to them in a while. I got to hit them up. They always do a really good inter-site ADP comparison. Super helpful, right? Which players are just have a big disparity in ADP on different sites and how you may use that to your advantage. Just to give you an idea, like maybe why is the market a part in this? Do I have a strong feeling on this player? They end up being a great source for this. That said, we all kind of play our own combination of stuff. And I'm a bit unique, right? I like 15-team, 5x5, NFBC. I have a lot of people that follow me for that. Draft champions and such. That's why the ranks go so deep. They don't even cover all the way, although I'm going to do a tack on, right? Or really deep dark horse sleeper. That stuff I'm paywalling from now on, everybody. I still think there's plenty of free work. But we want to cover the guys that have a big difference. And the first guy I think that comes to mind has got to be Zach Neto for the Angels. I understand in 5x5 steals matter, but he's not like a 70 steal guy, and he's like a top 30 overall player. So the fact that you could get Neto where he's going, in the mid-50s, close to 60, I think is a bargain. So we're through 5. I've got Tucker, Alvarez, Bellinger, Caminero, and Neto, just kind of drafting off the auto right now. Though now is when I like to look for pairing, right? So it's not to say we don't believe in the ranks, but I think in the mid-rounds is when, that's when you solve the coin flip. So, like, I actually have Perdomo in this spot, but I didn't get Carroll. Like, if I had Corbin Carroll in the first, I'd be going Perdomo for the pairing. I also might have went Kettle Marte over Neto earlier. But since I have Belly, I think I'm going to go Ben Rice. I think we're looking at a breakout opportunity here. Let's pop on over to the videotape. Rice is really good for the Yanks last year. 530 plate appearances, got to 26 bombs and 3 steals, 74-65 run ribby combo. He bat 255, but the XBA was 299 actually. So, like that. His slug was 499. Expected was 581. So all the kind of expected stuff, really in love with this guy. 410 expected WOBA at 358. Plus he has a really great approach, which I love. 19K to only 9 walks, single digit swing and strike, 25 chase rate, paired with a 90 zone contact. This is like Juan Soto type shit, seriously. These are the really great numbers. He's a bit patient. I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, but it's working for him. He's a fucking pull god. 47 pull, 21 air pull, 56 hard hit, 410 X-Wobble, like I mentioned, but 475 isolated to contact, 15.5 barrel, 113.5 max EV. Ben Rice doing fucking damage. For the Jenks, he's a pop to just go nuts, right? Those are the numbers, especially with the contact numbers without the big chase rate. I don't want to be pitching for Ben Rice, but maybe that's I'm going to write that down. That sounds like just the kind of triggering content that could, maybe get me some fucking attention in this world now where everything is so algorithmically driven. Ben Rice over like a Temu version of Juan Soto, a little bit cheaper right now at the first round. So obviously I don't memorize that shit. I just know that I have really great tools to fucking research under the drafting gun. You could search by position, you could search by team, you could search by ADP. That doesn't update in real time, but it's a pretty good spot. And maybe every couple weeks or so, because I change my own, I'll just copy pasta over to you guys. But it gets you in line. Again, you could also always copy these sheets on your own and make all your own adjustments. I know people do that with the algo stuff, meaning if you don't want to use my mean projections and stuff, you can erase the inputs, all the formulas stay in place, and it'll do all the calculations and stuff for you. It'll give you an idea to really help you in your handicapping. Again, not to say it's the wrong way to do it. 1,000 ways to skin a cat without scratching its asshole. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'm on the clock. Man, I'm really torn here between... I think I'm going back... So this is one of the catchers that I mentioned I thought could get 600 PAs. William Contreras is a freaking stud, man. Now, he's not a great example of using 5x5 ADP, especially in NFBC, because they play 2 catchers if you're unfamiliar. And you really got to prioritize them. That said, to me, he's one of the few guys, if you've ever seen my 5x5 ranks this season, you'll notice that it actually starts, the catchers start at tier 2, because there are 2 catchers in the glob of the apex predators, right, the guys we want. And for me, that's, Cal Raleigh and William Contreras. He had a little bit of injury stuff that I think might have thrown him off, and he still gave you 89-76 runs and ribs, 17-6 homer steals, right? He's going to DH when he's not in the lineup. Fantastic approach. He crushes the ball. He's in a great park. And again, I think I'm kind of doing a little bit of throwaway stuff for last year. I know he was banged up. I'm going to dig into it. But I think there was an injury split there. I'm going to table William Contreras. He's already on my whiteboard. All right, we're up again. Now, remember earlier on when I was talking that shit about wanting around, 8 starter over one of the top guys, I'm going to actually back that up and go with Blake Snell. Or if it's just his week where the Dodgers are playing 7 times and he's going twice, you'd rather have Snell 2 times than fucking Skeens. The Dodgers are going to be minus 350 every fucking night. Anyway, know what I mean? Tremendous favorites every single night. Remember, you get points for the quality start, you get points for the win. And to Snell's case in particular, I mentioned this on another stream. You don't get penalized for whip, but you get the bonus for strikeouts. So he's the kind of guy that could walk the bases loaded, then strike out the side. He gets all the goodness, and if you get the win, he's the man. So I was able to wait, pretty deep into a draft here, pick 90 to get Blake Snell, and I was choosing between him and Jacob deGrom. I like to make sure I have my ace before 9 because they do kind of dry up a little bit. Now, excuse me not looking up. I'm seeing if I have any strong pairs, though. I do find myself feeling a little shy on outfielders, though I think this is a lesson I've had to learn. As I was mentioning in the beginning, yes, there are more outfielders. Yes, there's a really good reason to be drafting them early. But it doesn't mean you need to take 6 in a row. Because I think I've done that and drafted guys that are going to be on the bench. Like, if I'm correct, right? If in the best case scenario, where I'm correct about everything, I'm drafting bench guys over true impact aces, right? Snell is an impact ace. DeGrom is an impact ace. You're not giving up anything. Literally not giving up anything on a per inning basis. In that 1v1, especially when you're talking about a 2nd round to a 9th round. Because now the outfielders I had anywhere near the top of my rankings are both gone. That was Elliot Ramos and Jacob Morrissey. I'm not even a big Morrissey guy. I do like Ramos. I'm feeling very much pressured, which is good, sometimes. I should have known in these dingers, right, the higher stakes one, $15 to win, $200K. The outfielders definitely get pushed a little bit harder than they were in the $3 ones, where it makes a little bit of sense. Now, man, this is like sexy time because I just really don't have outfielders here. So it's, do you reach for outfielders that you want just to secure them? I'm going to play a little bit of ADP chicken. I want to stay with my ranks. I want to back up the pitching here because I'm feeling pretty strong. Maybe second pitcher. How about Nolan McLean for the Mets? We're kind of leaning into the upside case here for a highly touted prospect that was really great on a winning team. So McLean was good it was just 48 innings in the bigs. But he was legit stellar, right? 206, 104 ERA whip combo. All the earned run indicators. Sierra and mine at least at 3.25 below. They expected at 3.6. We'll take a look at that. I don't know if I have time for this lesson right now. He's got a very good fastball. Doesn't throw it as much. I think it's a split finger, if not mistaken. Damn, now I can't get caught talking that shit. We got to pop the hood on Mr. McLean. We'll circle back to the Arsenal in a bit. 30% K to 8.5 walk, which is fantastic for a first spin in the majors. Good ball rate. We'd like to see him get ahead a little bit more, maybe do some more chases, which again, it's a lot of times the things that come with maturity. But he's a fucking ground ball machine, man. 61% ground ball. So when you harness that stuff, that's a lot of times a pathway to a distance for these guys. So really like what we see from McLean when you pop the hood on the Arsenal. So it's sinker sweeper kind of dual lead. Neither pitch above 30%. So he does go deep into his arsenal, which again, I really tend to like. In particular, out pitches, kind of handed specific pitches. So like the changeup and the cutter. Changeup in particular, he only throws to lefties, 250 slug on that pitch, 30% whiff rate. And he can dial down the velo almost 10 miles an hour from that sinker. So a lot of things that we like from McLean. Okay, we're up again. Shit, now I'm finding myself having to choose between my favorite two 10th round picks. And I'm going to lean towards a pitcher only because I have fewer pitchers. And I'm going to go with Yuri Perez, who I've always liked. And now we get the... Let's see if I could finish this, like a bunch of hyphens in here. Healthy season finished after year removed from injury trajectory. Perez really a fucking stud. In his own right, 95 and a third in the bigs. He had a 4.25 ERA, but a 105 WHIP, 3.25 expected, 380 Sierra, 337 custom. So that you're really not saying you ignore the ERA, but that's normally the first indicator, I should say, to go look at the luck stats. I try and put them together. So you want to look at left on base, you want to look at BABIP and home to fly balls. Left on base rate in particular at 65% is so shitty. It's so shitty. 27K to 8 walk for Perez, 19 KBB is good. 13.5 swing strike, especially in a position where we're talking about this as a buy low spot. I don't even think we're seeing the kind of full product on Yuri. All of last year, I kept telling myself and saying on the podcast to make the bookmark, the mental bookmark, that we want to buy back in on Perez this year. The velo is there. That fucking slider is so fucking wicked. It's one of the better pitches in the bigs right now. Yuri Perez's slider throws about a quarter of the time. So you get almost 12 mile an hour difference step down from the four-seamer. 167 XBA, 254 X-Lug with a 40% whiff. Just so fucking devastating. Of course, that dives down and away to righties. That's a glove hand side. Usually, but, I like to be particular with my granulars. I like to say I'm the best in the biz, so if you're going to talk that shit, we got to at least be competitive. All right, let me scroll down. I think I did a pretty good job hosting this draft, if you're following along, eliminating the names and trying to keep the scroll going where I'm not going back and forth like a fucking chicken went up my head, It's been a while. All right, so we're back on the clock. And now I'm getting ready to capitulate on ADP and maybe get into more of some of my guy stuff. I have two names. One guy is right at maybe a little ahead of ADP. One guy's kind of severely in front of ADP. I'm going to try and tap them both. These are the games you have to play when you fall back on outfielder because it's really slim out there. And I'm only at 3 outfielders through 11. So to pay up on ADP, I really don't mind a lot of times. ADP, of course, Gecko famously quoted, right? ADP, mostly set by losers. So, I'm all about that. I'm going to get a couple of my guys here. So I'm going to go with, one of my most mispriced bats on the board. It's Kerry Carpenter. I took him way ahead of ADP. I think in the playoffs in particular, he showed him he could hit lefties and down the stretch too. I'm going to dive in on Kerry. He's one of my favorite guys. So when we get to my guy kind of stuff, I'm going to make sure to get Kerry in there. He deserves a little bit of love. I don't really think he gets. I think he gets viewed maybe as too much of a platoon guy, which I guess is always an obvious outcome here. I would counter with spike weeks, kind of superseding that, whatever the right word is. And he gets pinch hit plate appearances a lot of times. So I think it's a little too soon to be writing off Carpenter. You know, yeah, like he's 28, but I normally gauge, it's like cars almost. Not to totally like dehumanize these poor guys, who of course I look up to. But your age is your plate appearances in a professional sense. So 1,300 plate appearances for Kerry Carpenter is not great. And he doesn't really get, you know, the chance either. So maybe I'm squinting a little bit too hard. But these are the profiles of the guys that I love, right? He fucking mashes. Plus 500 X-Lug, nearly 250 ISO. He has a good approach, too. You know, he mashes, he lifts, he's a fucking pull god, 47 pull, 23.5 air pull, 428 X Wobicon, 12.5 barrel. Kerry Carpenter has some massive fucking power under the hood now. I kind of lucked out and I was able to get the player I was hoping would scooch around. And now I'm wondering if I should bump on Royal Fern upside play because I don't have the pitching. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to put myself in a little bit more of a corner and outfielders and see how I react. I'm going to homerize it here and go with Cam Schlittler. Again, I have so many zero pitcher builds. I really want to diversify a touch. Go with my man Schlittler again. Let's pop the hood on Schlittler. Damn near killed her. Where's my boy at? Where you at, Cam? Of course, you play for the Yanks, you're going to have all the, you know, access to the goodness. As far as wins goes, 296, 122. ERA whip combo from Schlittler. Indicators all below 4. Above 3.25. I'd like to see him dial down the fastball use a touch. But the thing that I've heard people railing him for, the 10% walk rate, to me, is just missing a little bit of fucking context. Incoming message, please. Yo, man, you got to be looking at ball rate if you're going to be talking to me about control. There's just not a world where a 34% ball rate equates to a 10% walk rate over and over and over again when you put these inputs in that máquina. It just doesn't work that way. And if you're unfamiliar, I hate quoting stats that are not contextualized. Again, nuance and context, burn out your fucking nose. Don't be a cheap bitch your whole life, by the way. Sign up to the Substack, find out what the hubbub is about. Support good people doing good work, if anything, man. You got to be looking at these disciplinary baskets as a whole, right? That's why I like to have, you know, it's simple. I also hate when people throw a million stats at you, and it's like stat. So I'm fucking smart. SMRT smart, you know. But you do need to build the tapestry, right? So you want to know KB, K minus BB, right? That's just the ham and eggs, right? The meat and potatoes, I mean. But CSW, swing and strike, ball, first strike, chase, zone contact really gives you the underpinning stuff. Schlittler was really good in the first time out. I also like rookies that succeed the first time. Yankees also good at getting a lot from a little. All right, we're back on the clock in the 13th. Now, had I known the pick I'm about to make was going to fall, I would have taken Bubba Chandler in the last one because I ended up missing on Hunter Goodman, who I wanted, Dylan Lyle, who I wanted, to get Ranger Suarez, who I really like over in Boston. He's fucking awesome on a burning basis. Although, check out how good Ranger Suarez is. Again, if you are new, welcome aboard. Bienvenidos. You get the show 6 days a week. We cover every single game. We do in the deep dives. You get the world famous pitching sheets every damn day. Break down what to look for in daily, DFS, and fantasy. What to expect from teams, futures, bets. It's just like, you know how we do. We kind of do it all. They don't call me the fucking one-man band for nothing, blowing the harmonica and banging the fucking drum like a damn circus barking fool over here. But I think you have to in this day and age, right? We playing best ball is a little bit of a different brain than playing 5x5. I also play high stakes point leagues, but then we're going to get into, you know, betting, of course. And if you're never really bet MLB, listen, betting MLB straight is fucking hard. I'm going to address this from a macro standpoint when I have a second after football's totally done. But we do a lot of different stuff. And I've had some they're actually normie golf bettors. So, that's why you want to talk to smart people. Sharp people that make money. There's a million ways, again, to skin the cat without scratching the arsehole. Oh, look, part of the complaining I was doing was unnecessary. I didn't finish that. One of the guys I also hope would be to finish the pairing of Kerry Carpenter till you get Gleyber Torres really late. And you love these mini stacks. Good teams, top third of the order. Torres probably undersung. And another good case for the argument about the 1v1s where the outfielders are fucking suck right now. All right, Harold, outfielders by ADP. Ramon Laureano, Giancarlo Stanton, Jordan Beck, Chandler Simpson, Owen Casey, Mickey Moniak. And then Willie Castro. Look at all the Rockies. They just brought in J.J. McCarthy also. There might be a fight for playing time in the fucking altitude that we all want. None of those guys... I like all of them, which might be the problem. I really like Beck. But he's got flaws. I still think he'd be the one. They just paid Castro. He's a rotator. I think he kind of fits in anywhere. He'll probably play a lot. But I don't know exactly what that outfield is going to look like. People love Moniak. Does he not lose any time? McCarthy's not even being drafted in these formats. Lars Nootbaar, Jordan Walker. You reaching for that. We don't know what we're going to get. Then you're into like rookie stuff. Carson Benj. I've taken a couple shots on Cam Smith on a pure blind bounce back. This is what we're talking about here. This is what we're talking about. Remember, there are people that have frontline outfielders. And that ain't me, dog. That fucking couldn't be me. I'm kind of reaching here. Man, I'm in a spot I haven't caught myself in a little bit. I know I said I was going to force it, and it happens really fast. Again, that's part of what I'm doing here, the teaching. Fortunate enough to burn $15. That are not site credits, by the way. I know a lot of fucking people out there burn their sponsors' money. I'm not. It's mine. For now, at least. Underdog, hit me up. Come on, let's fucking go. Oh, man. All right, so I was looking at maybe like Chase the Water. It was fun out there. He's a highly touted prospect. These profiles, frankly, scare the fucking shit out of me. He hasn't done much. He's being projected to start in the bigs. But, he hasn't had, a monster season. He just hasn't. He doesn't have a lot of experience in the minors. I had drafted Jordan Beck a bunch of times. But again, now I'm worried. That was earlier on in draft season. He had 580 APA. So playing every day, 16-19 homer steal combo. We love that as fantasy herbs. He did get thrown out 8 times, which is not great. He had a 351 BABIP. You're going to get a boost from cores. The approach is fucking shitty. It's the best way to get fucking benched, right? 30% K, 31 CSW, 80 zone contact. He pulls, he hits it hard, but man, he scares the piss out of me. These fucking profiles really scare me. Oh gosh, I hate to do it. I think I got to lean into the Yankee stuff again because I have Bellinger and because I have Ben Rice. I hope Stanton, who's been effective when he plays. Again, he's a perfect example of a spike week guy, but I'd be lying to you if I told you he was going to get 600 fucking plate appearances. You just hope he's healthy during the playoffs. Sorry, I got stalled. I'm in my first draft champion league of the year with all types of really sharp people. Of course, leave it to me. I'm going to do my first one against the best players in the world. But I always enjoy the competition. But it's really sharp players. I have guilds on one side of me, and Bloomy's in here, and Fish is in here, and Bubba's in here. 8th pick, Corbin Carroll. Yes, please. Normally, Carroll does not make it to 8. I'm really happy he did. I am really happy that he made it. It's a 2-hour clock, so I have a while probably, but now, man, that was such a relief. I like the middle of the board. I have found when I play really good players, because they fucking push the issue. I'm eventually going to have to make a fucking decision on these outfielders, man. Do you just go boring veteran? Gurriel is out there. He's my boring veteran pick. I hate pretending I know shit about rookies and stuff, but Carson Benji is being projected to start for the Mets. And my buddies love this fucking guy. I wouldn't have to take him for a while, but, that's one of those ways to attack, right? You draft as if you're right. You draft best ball as if you're right. And if you really like him, you go for it. I'm going to finish that little Houston stack. I'm going to get my 6th infielder, Isaac Paredes. We love the pull power in Houston that plays in the Crawford boxes. When we talk about pull stuff and elevated batted balls, Paredes, has to literally be one of the first people that comes to mind. It's just absurd. It's like absurd. What the fuck? Where is this guy? Well, I feel like a stupid. I can't find him. I must be spelling him. I spelling his fucking name wrong. Paredes, I think, really can thrive. They only got to 438 PAs last year. Oh, idiot. I had a fucking filter on, of course. 53 runs of ribbies, 20 homers, no steals. But the 200 ISO, 353 WOBA play, 800 OPS. Not to oversimplify best ball and or underdog scoring in general, but a lot of times they correlate most heavily to OPS. So if you're just looking for the cheat code, outside of part of the data that you get with us is I translated all of last year's stats into Dinger stats, both on a total and per plate appearance basis, then translated this year's projections into Dinger stats, both on a total and plate appearance basis too. Just help you find who the market likes overall, who we think has a better finish, who we think is the best on a, again, per opportunity perspective, which is the best way to alter projections. I like to consider myself very in tune with the market and the math behind it, and I don't fuck with them. There's enough brilliant free projection systems out there that you can weigh them how you like and then just alter plate appearances. That's where I think they miss the most. That's where I think they admit to missing the most. So, okay, I'm going to need one more outfielder eventually. I'm not going to go there yet. Now it's time to just embrace the decoupling from the market. The market has Jack Leiter, Yusei Kikuchi, and Shane Bieber. I'm not taking him. I'm going to go with a certain youngster on the Cubbies instead. Again, my pitching rankings, once we hit pick 200, are just completely different than this current market. Now, we may eventually drag it up. In that case, we'll have a section where we're unique. I have find I'm regularly drafting players that are not always even going at all. So I have very unique baskets of back-end pitching. And I feel really great about it. Now, I don't love this team the way I love some other ones. I'm not going to lie. But I still think that's the pathway, is a little bit in each of the buckets. You know, you need stars at every position. Now, like I said, I'm being a fucking crybaby honk right now. I think some people might have said, well, you have Tucker, Jordan Alvarez, Cody Bellinger. Like, what are you worrying about your outfield for? Those guys are, it's a really good 1-2-3. Back with Carpenter and Stanton, right? That kind of big home run, spike week archetype that we're looking for. Damn, I think somebody where, oh no, it didn't go again. My ranks are just so far off from from everybody else. Listen, it's a young man's game. There's a whole bunch of sophomore, second year guys, right? That showed us something. A couple rookies that I love, and these rosters are really limited. So I'm just don't feel the need. Who again the pitchers are going in order of ADP. Drew Rasmussen is going. It doesn't. Man, I feel like you're buying the top on the innings pitch there. Maybe he's not the best example. But Jose Soriano feels like a good example of a pitcher that I think you're taking him because he's on top of the ADP. It just really feels that way with a bunch of guys. Kikuchi took a huge step back, and he doesn't have a great context. I'm not knocking down the door for him. Few guys I'd rather have than him. Lots of guys I'd rather have than fucking him. Andrew Painter just went off the board. He's along the lines of picks I think can help you win. Now, I have seen some teams make the mistake, like myself. It was $3 draft where I went straight up 0P. And I think if you go 0P, I tried to go 6-6-8. Rank it all 12 hitters and then go 8 pitchers. Like, all right, I'm going to get them. Oh, man, there's people in this room that I think I've drafted with or who are using our fucking ranks because Waldrop just went. And now if Waldrop is going in the 19th, I'm going back to prioritize him. He's one of my most rostered players. Now, I have backed off of him because I wanted to get a little bit more. I mean, if I feel like if I start listing, you know, the guys we like that are off the board, it's like these are the guys that should be up. Bryce Miller, Ryan Weathers, Logan Henderson, Louis Hill, Zebby Matthews, Parker Messick, Jonah Tong. These are fucking impactful pitchers on a permanent basis. That's what we're looking for. The guys that if they get the nod are going to move the fucking needle, man. Now this, again, Brady Singer, I don't know why you want Brady Singer. I'm sorry. He came out hot out of the box. I think he regressed to what we knew he'd be. To me, the top side is just not there. Ryan Weathers back with the Yankees. Bryce Miller. I love me some Logan Henderson, but he had the elbow thing. You know, for me, I think I'm going to go, let's go. No, I'm going to lean into, like I said, we can't predict injuries. We draft like a right. Give me Logan Henderson. I think if he doesn't start in the rotation, he will eventually. He is ridiculous on a permanent basis. Ridiculous pitcher. You know, Snelling, I think, gets a chance with the Marlins. And again, we're looking for the breakout guys. Snell, McLean, Yuri Perez, Cam Schlittler, Ranger Suarez, Cade Horton, Snelling, Henderson. And like I punted pitching. I feel like the pitching is a fucking strength on this team. Caminero, Neto, Rice, William Contreras, Gleyber Torres, and Isaac Paredes on the infield, feeling really good. Now, one of the cheat codes I've had, Adley Rutschman, no one is interested in. It's fucking pick 30. He hasn't gone. He's going to go undrafted. Adley Rutschman's going to go undrafted. Royce Lewis might go undrafted. Like that, to me, that's where I think you want to leave a infielder or two at the back end. These are guys we absolutely want that are good hitters, that have ceiling, legit ceiling. Royce Lewis could be a top 10 hitter in fantasy baseball, like a top 20 hitter in fantasy baseball. We've seen it on the per bat, per week, per month basis. We've seen it. He had a rough year last year. It was a rough year for if they're healthy, they'll be awesome crowd. Now, Rutschman went at the 19-20 turn. Come on. To me, that's a market inefficiency. So I kind of fucked up. I took... Let's see if I can identify my own mistake or what I think was my mistake. Because I like to be really honest. Maybe the McLean pick I pressed a little bit. I feel like pitching I probably could have waited a little bit. That he can eat infielders earlier than I wanted. I guess Ben Rice is the regret pick. Contreras is in front of... I guess those were the luxury picks, one of them, the Rice or Contreras. I mean, Ryan Weathers fell all the way back. Yankees like what they saw in him. Zebby Matthews, is he going to get full run? I don't know. I like Parker Messick. I don't know. I think again, Weathers while healthy. I think give me the Weathers, who again has been great on a per inning basis. Bryce Miller went right in front of me. It's good to see I'm having a little bit of impact. The people we've been kind of pounding the table for, at least starting to go, because I think the ADP in the back of these ranks has a little bit of adjusting to do. All right, so that'll fucking do it, man. Thank you for picking up what I'm putting down here at Kickity Cork Stats. Follow me on Twitter. That'll streamline you to all my work. I do a lot of writing everywhere. There's also exclusive writing. That's where the player writing has been going on so far. I did our favorite 5th and 6th starting pitchers for both the AL and the NL. Then I did my favorite plus 250 ADP hitters at first, second, short, third, and outfield. That's out today. So we're starting to build up a little bit. There's podcasts dedicated to round 1, 2, 3, and 4 hitters, then tier 1 and 2 pitchers. So we're already at half a dozen episodes, a half a dozen articles. So there's a little bit of reading, quite a bit of listening to do. And then all the data with the ranks. You could download everything as CSVs, which of course is just super fucking helpful. And I'm always kind of filtering in, bringing people up and moving people down. And when the pebbles hit the lake, right, to cover the butterfly effect of all the fucking moves. Sir Anthony Dominguez is, where he should be with Grant Taylor, and Jordan Leisure dropped for those of us that give a crap about that stuff. You can tell we're deep in the fucking weeds. So appreciate you for checking out the show. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought, what you liked, what you hated, what you disagreed, what it's all about. And check out the work. We're going to be doing fantasy round the fucking clock up until opening day, of course. You also get access to all the football data that stays up, all the advanced player and team data, all the differentials and stuff that's just really fucking tough to find. It's all formatted, of course. And yeah, it's stats and ranks and drafts, and then soon it'll be bets and all types of other fun shit. So appreciate you all, and that should do it. Enjoy the games, enjoy the day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this freaking hard, man, the winning feels a lot less like luck, yo.